The message was deleted, removed from the phone's history, but its echo would shatter an alibi, reveal a deception, and ultimately point to a far darker truth. It was a single text sent from Olivia Chen's phone to a man she knew only as Mark. But Olivia was supposed to be meeting Jonathan Vance. This is where the official story, the one presented to investigators, begins to unravel. What happened to Olivia Chen after she left her dorm room that night, and what role did this disappeared message play in her vanishing? Let's examine the timeline. Olivia Chen, a junior at Crestwood University, sent a final text to her roommate, Sarah, at 8:15 p.m. on October 12, 2023. This is significant because it establishes her routine, her last known communication. Sarah confirms Olivia was studying for an upcoming exam, a normal, predictable evening. Then, around 9 p.m., Olivia tells Sarah she's leaving to meet a dating app match for a casual coffee. Her disappearance, the start of this investigation, begins right there. According to cell tower data, her phone pinged near the Daily Grind Cafe at 9:30 p.m. That was her pre-arranged meeting spot, confirmation she was where she was supposed to be. But what happened next? At 10 p.m., Jonathan Vance, the IT professional Olivia was supposed to meet, sent a text. He asked if she was on her way. There was no response. Vance would later claim Olivia never arrived for their date. That's his initial alibi. Yet a crucial piece of evidence emerges, one that contradicts Vance's story and introduces a new disturbing element: CCTV footage. From a bodega 2 blocks from the Daily Grind, recorded at 10:45 p.m., the footage shows Olivia walking alone. She is heading away from the cafe, and she appears distressed. This is the first visual hint that something went wrong, a significant deviation from a casual coffee date. A distressed Olivia walking away from her intended meeting, and an unread text from Vance claiming she didn't show. The pieces don't fit. What caused this distress? And why was she alone almost 2 hours after her phone pinged near the cafe? The official story at this point leaves too many questions. A digital footprint. The previous chapter closed with the unanswered question of Olivia Chen's first date and a disturbing lack of communication. But here's where the digital trail begins to diverge, pointing to not one, but 2 potential encounters that night. That's not a small inconsistency, and it raises an important question. Who was Olivia really meeting? Initially, Detective Miller focused on Jonathan Vance, the IT professional from the dating app. According to Vance's statement to Detective Miller on October 13th, Olivia never arrived at the Daily Grind Cafe. Vance claimed he texted Olivia at 10 p.m., asking if she was on her way, and received no response, a detail that seemed consistent with Olivia's sudden silence. However, the investigation soon uncovered another, far more puzzling clue: a deleted message from Olivia's phone history. According to forensic reports dated October 15th, this message was sent to a different dating app profile, not Vance's, but one under the name Mark. The message read, "Can't wait to finally meet you, Mark." This detail matters. It completely recontextualizes Olivia's plans. So if Olivia was going to meet Vance, why was she also communicating with someone named Mark for a first meeting? The digital footprint shows 2 distinct potential appointments. What doesn't add up is the chronology and the purpose of these separate communications. This discovery shifted the focus, transforming a simple missing persons case into something far more intricate. It raised the possibility of a deception, creating an entirely new open loop in the investigation, the true identity of Mark, and how he fits into Olivia's last known hours. The last known location. The timestamp doesn't match what the official story suggests. Olivia Chen, after her final text to Sarah, was next seen on CCTV footage at 10:45 p.m. Not at the Daily Grind as she intended, but 2 blocks away, walking alone. This footage, recovered from a bodega camera, paints a different picture of her evening. You see Olivia clearly, illuminated by the flickering neon of the store sign. She's dressed as Sarah described: jeans, a dark jacket, her distinctive red scarf. But her demeanor, that's where it gets strange. Her head is down. She's clutching her purse to her chest, and her pace is quick, hurried, almost as if she's fleeing something or someone. She heads away from the cafe, not towards it. Now, recall the text from Jonathan Vance. At 10 p.m., Vance sent Olivia a message asking if she was on her way. No response. This means Olivia was by then already exhibiting distress, already leaving the intended meeting spot. What happened in those 30 minutes, between 9:30 p.m., when her phone pinged near the cafe, and 10 p.m., when Vance tried to reach her, that made her appear so fearful? The timeline breaks here. The security footage suggests she never even reached the cafe, or if she did, something immediately drove her away. Why would she be walking alone, visibly upset, away from her date? This detail matters. It pushes the narrative of a simple missed connection into something far more troubling. And it leaves us with an open question: who or what did Olivia encounter that night to spark such a reaction? The professional's alibi. Detective Miller's first interview with Jonathan Vance was critical. Vance, the IT professional Olivia planned to meet, claimed she never arrived at the Daily Grind cafe. According to the interrogation protocol from October 13th, Vance stated he waited until 10:30 p.m., tried to text Olivia, and then left, assuming she had stood him up. That's where the professional's alibi begins to unfold. But let's look at the evidence. Olivia's phone pinged a cell tower near the Daily Grind at 9:30 p.m. This confirms her proximity to the meeting location, meaning she was there, or at least very close, exactly when she was supposed to be. Vance's text, sent at 10 p.m., asks if she's on her way, implying he hadn't seen her yet. He claimed he waited half an hour after that. Yet, a crucial piece of footage changes everything we thought we knew about Olivia's movements. CCTV footage from a bodega 2 blocks from the Daily Grind, time-stamped at 10:45 p.m., shows Olivia walking alone, heading away from the cafe. She appeared distressed. This footage, this small, pixelated image, directly contradicts Vance's account. It suggests Olivia did arrive, she was at or near the cafe, and then something happened that caused her distress. A detail that matters. So why would Jonathan Vance lie about Olivia showing up? Or, more precisely, why would he say she never arrived when evidence suggests she was there and distressed, just blocks away, less than an hour after their scheduled meeting time? The professional's alibi, initially so simple, now feels incomplete. What doesn't add up is the gap between his statement and Olivia's confirmed location. This raises an important question. What did Vance truly know about Olivia's movements that night? Unraveling the Connection. Jonathan Vance claimed Olivia never arrived for their date, an alibi confirmed by his initial statement. But the timeline doesn't add up. After Olivia's phone pinged near the Daily Grind, a deleted message from her phone history presented a new name, Mark, a different dating app profile. That detail matters because it complicates everything Vance told investigators. This wasn't just a simple missed connection anymore. It was 2 potential connections, 2 separate narratives beginning to emerge. The police report, dated October 15th, details the forensic discovery of this deleted communication. Can't wait to finally meet you, Mark. Investigators were now looking for 2 men, or so it seemed. The official version, Vance's version, immediately began to unravel. What doesn't add up is why Vance made no mention of any prior conversations Olivia might have had about another date, especially if he was genuinely confused about her whereabouts. The initial interview notes from Detective Miller on October 13th made no mention of a second contact, likely because this information was suppressed. So who was Mark? That's where it gets strange. According to information retrieved from the dating app database on October 16th, the profile for Mark led to a burner phone. A phone that was eventually traced to a man named Arthur Hayes. This wasn't a random stranger. Arthur Hayes was an acquaintance of Jonathan Vance. An IT professional, yes, but also a figure that now links directly back to the original suspect. The digital paper trail here is clear, tying Vance not just to Olivia, but to this new, mysterious figure. The immediate implication is unsettling. Vance wasn't just a confused date. He had a connection to the man Olivia was seemingly messaging on another platform. The question remained, was this a coincidence, or something far more deliberate? The missing day. The car's data log. That was the piece of evidence Detective Miller needed. According to information obtained via warrant for Vance's vehicle on October 17th, the car's internal GPS recorded a brief stop, a precise location. Near where Olivia's car was later found, abandoned, keys in the ignition. This directly contradicted Jonathan Vance's statement that he never left his apartment after Olivia failed to show up for their date. That detail matters. It means Vance was lying, not just about a missed connection, but about his whereabouts on the crucial night of October 12th. He claimed Olivia never arrived. Yet, his car, a vehicle he insisted hadn't moved, was registered stopping miles away from his home, less than a mile from where Olivia's car was discovered. This isn't a small inconsistency. This is a foundational contradiction that unravels his entire alibi. Now, recall Arthur Hayes, the man behind the Mark profile, an acquaintance of Vance's. The connection had been made, but the depth of it remained murky. Why would Vance's car be in that area? What was his real involvement, if any, with the abandoned vehicle? The data log didn't just place Vance's car near Olivia's. It placed it there on the morning of October 13th, roughly between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. Well after Olivia's last known movements near the daily grind. This placed Vance, or at least his vehicle, directly at a scene linked to Olivia's disappearance. It connected him not just to Olivia, but to the mystery of her abandoned car. The official version of events, Vance's version, was now entirely unsustainable, but it raised new questions. Was Vance involved in abandoning Olivia's car? Or was he there for another reason? The paper trail was clear. Vance's vehicle was there. This transformed Jonathan Vance from a person of interest with a weak alibi into a central figure in a rapidly escalating investigation. A second dating profile. Detective Miller Prigladal Profil Randkoi Jonathan Vance, 10 Sam, Zodi Olivia Chen Odwidzilla Tegnosi. Jednak Soshi Muni Pasoalo. Zgodni z raportem kryminalistycznym ze 15 plebatianika, zespol śledczy odkrył usunięta wiadomość z telefonu Olivii. Wiadomość była krótka, ale wymowna, nie bogasie do spotkania Mark. To była cyfrowa notatka do innego profilu na innej aplikacji randkowej. Olivia Chen miała umówione spotkanie z Jonathanem Vancem, ale 13 tego samego wieczoru planowała spotkanie z kimś innym. Tu jest kluczowa sprzeczność. Tara Rajbia Pekiolekowi obraz jej niklocia. Kosz tu nie pasuje. Nowi trop kalkowici zmieniał dynamikę śledztwa. Kim był ten Mark? A dlaczego Olivia komunikowała się z nim tak bliskim czasie od spotkania z Vancem? Pytania zaczęli narastać. Nagrania z monitoringu dzwal wypelania. Na których Olivia oddala się od Daily Grind, wyglądająca wyraźnie zaniepokojona, nabierają teraz nowego znaczenia. Czy niepokoj był związany z Vancem, czy może z tym drugim, tajemniczym Markiem? Śledczy musieli podążyć za tym nowym cyfrowym śladem. To był punkt zwrotny. Zgodnie z informacjami z bazy danych aplikacji randkowej, Mark nie był prawdziwym nazwiskiem użytkownika. To był pseudonim. Jako gorsza, profil był utworzony na burnerfona, anonimowy, trudny do namierzenia. To nie wpływało na przypadkowe spotkanie, to wpływało na ukierunkowane działanie. Kto chciał spotkać Oliwii z ukrycia, posługując się falsywym profilem? Ci Jonathan Vance, tak czetny do prasrisi, miał z tym jakikolwiek związek. The Unreported Call. The previous chapter left us with a critical truth. Jonathan Vance admitted to knowing Arthur Hayes. That admission by itself was a significant crack in his carefully constructed facade. But what truly unravels his initial statements about Olivia Chen's disappearance, what makes his story begin to fall apart, is a detail that emerges from a comprehensive review of the call logs. According to the official call records, the very documents Vance believed wouldn't incriminate him, he made a call that night. A call he never reported to Detective Miller. We know from an earlier part of the timeline that Vance texted Olivia Chen at 10 p.m. asking if she was on her way to their date. No response. That's what he told the police. What he didn't mention, what was hidden in the digital paper trail before forensics uncovered it, was a second attempt to reach her. Approximately 15 minutes after his unanswered text, at 10:15 p.m., Vance placed a direct phone call to Olivia Chen's number. That call lasted for 37 seconds. 37 seconds. We need to ask, what transpired during those seconds? Was it a voicemail? Was it a brief, one-sided conversation? Or was it something else entirely? This unreported call is critical because it directly contradicts Vance's initial statement to Detective Miller, where he maintained that he merely sent a text and, receiving no reply, assumed she simply hadn't shown up. The existence of a phone call initiated by him indicates a higher level of concern, or perhaps a failed attempt to connect directly. Why would he omit such a detail from his interview? It's a simple fact, a single line in a much larger call log, but it forces us to reevaluate everything Vance initially told the authorities. This is where the narrative shifts, from a simple no-show date to something more deliberate, and this single unreported call, this small 37-second window, opens up a host of new questions about Jonathan Vance's true involvement. The car's data log. The vehicle's data log, a silent witness to every turn and stop, became the next crucial piece of evidence. Police obtained a warrant for Vance's car on October 17th, 4 days after Olivia disappeared. This device tracks precise GPS coordinates, speed, and even braking patterns, painting an undeniable picture of where the car had been. And what it showed contradicted Jonathan Vance's earlier statements to Detective Miller. Remember Vance's alibi? He claimed he was home the entire night, after texting Olivia for their canceled date. He maintained he never left his apartment. But the data log told a very different story. Analysis of data from Vance's vehicle indicates a brief, unexplained stop, not near his apartment, not even within the city limits that night. The specific coordinates placed Vance's vehicle just 3 miles from Crestwood University. More precisely, within a quarter-mile radius of where Olivia's car was found abandoned on October 14th. This wasn't a casual drive-by. The car idled there for nearly 7 minutes, long enough to observe, to wait, or even to interact. This detail matters. Vance had no reason to be in that specific area. He had no friends or family there, no recorded errands. And his firm denial of leaving home made this stop, this 7-minute pause in the darkness, highly suspicious. It directly implicated him in being physically present near Olivia's abandoned car, days before it was even discovered by police. The official version of events presented by Vance began to unravel under the cold, hard data. What was Jonathan Vance doing at that location, at that precise time, when Olivia Chen's car was left behind? Unmasking the Imposter. The car's data log had placed Jonathan Vance directly at the scene where Olivia's vehicle was abandoned. That detail, a seemingly innocuous digital breadcrumb, shattered his carefully constructed alibi. But it still left a critical question unanswered. Who was Mark? The deleted message from Olivia's phone referring to a Mark had been a significant thread in our investigation, a second party of interest. Now, with Vance's deception exposed, investigators had reason to believe Mark was more than a mere coincidence. Zgodnie z informacjami z bezi danej aplikacji randkowi. The profile Mark was linked to a burner phone. This phone in turn was traced to a man named Arthur Hayes. The name itself didn't immediately connect to Vance. But the investigative team dug deeper, as they always do. They found Hayes was not some random stranger. Here's where it gets strange. Arthur Hayes had been an acquaintance of Jonathan Vance, an old colleague in fact. This connection, Vance's initial date, the IT professional, and Hayes, the man behind the Mark profile, began to paint a disturbing picture. It was a picture of a deliberate setup, not an accidental encounter. The timeline, once unclear, started to snap into focus. On October 19th, 5 days after Olivia's car was located, police received new intelligence. Zeznania świadków składane duinu 18 potareniante opisują a neighbor who had seen Hayes moving boxes out of his apartment late on the night of October 12th, the same night Olivia disappeared. Hayes was attempting to slip across the border. It was a desperate move, a clear sign of flight. Police intercepted him, and that's when they found it. Olivia's purse. That single piece of evidence. No longer a case of a missing person, but one of abduction. Hayes was brought in for questioning, the evidence against him undeniable. The deleted message, the burner phone, the connection to Vance, the flight risk, and now Olivia's personal belongings in his possession. The imposter had been unmasked, and the picture it revealed was far darker than anyone had imagined. But the most critical question remained. Where was Olivia? The true identity. Arthur Hayes, the man behind the burner phone, the one Olivia believed was Mark, was finally apprehended. The details of his capture, according to law enforcement records, are clear. He was attempting to cross the border, but it was what he carried that provided the undeniable link, Olivia Chen's purse. That detail matters. It closed a critical loop. The question of who Mark truly was, the unmasking was complete. Hayes wasn't just an acquaintance of Jonathan Vance. He was a perpetrator, leveraging Vance's identity. Under interrogation, the full deception began to unravel. Hayes confessed. He revealed that he had impersonated Vance. He had lured Olivia to a secluded location. This isn't a small inconsistency. This is the answer to why Olivia's last sighting showed her distressed, walking away from the daily grind. She had met Vance, but it was Hayes, a familiar and perhaps unsettling face from Vance's past, if not directly to Olivia. What makes this more complex, more unnerving, is Vance's own involvement. According to Hayes' statement during interrogation, Vance had provided him with Olivia's details. Hayes claimed Vance thought it was a prank, a cruel joke between two men. But jokes in this case had consequences. Dire ones. Vance's initial deception, his repeated denials, his false alibi, they suddenly clicked into a new context. He was attempting to cover up his unwitting complicity in what he perceived as a prank gone wrong. This answers the long-standing question, why did Vance lie? He wasn't the abductor, but he paved the way. So the primary mystery of Olivia's disappearance begins to resolve. Hayes, the imposter, the abductor, now in custody. Vance, the unwitting enabler, identified. But Olivia was still missing. Hayes's confession was key, but the race was far from over. The evidence suggested Hayes had held Olivia captive somewhere. Closing the loop. Olivia Chen mosalta odnalesiona. Żyła, ko jest bez wątpienia najistotniejsza informacja. Ale głęboko straumatyzowana, widziona w odległej czasie przez Artura Hayesa. Tu potwierdza nasz gorsze obawy, ko doprowadziło do tego, że studentka znalazła się w rukach porywacza. Oże pamięcie złożone przez Artura Hayesa podczas przesłuchania udziałnia kala przerażająca prawdy. Przyznał, że podziel się pod Vance'a celowo złabiając Olivię w stronę mersi. Ko flejcie, tu Vance dostarczył Hayesowi goli do torki Olivii. Myślę, że to będzie tylko niewinny żart, pomyślnie mimi. Ten żart doprowadził do porwania. Policja nie czekała długo. Jonathan Vance zaczął aresztować za pomocnictwo. Tu kończył na petle sprawy. Olivia została odnaleziona. Winni stanno przed sądem. Sprawa tylko zadziela się od randki z aplikacji, kończy się aktem oskarżenia i zrujnowaniem dzieciem. Ko ta historia mówi nam o zaufaniu k cyfrowym dzieliście? O tym, że granica między niewinnym żartem a poważnym przestępstwem może być niezwykle cienka. A jak szybko pozorni bezpieczne plany mogą obrócić się w koszmar. Pytanie pozostaje otwarte. Czy fakt, że Olivia została uratowana, zmienia nasza percepcja o obecności Vance'a? Czy nieświadoma pomógł w porwaniu jest mniej lub bardziej winna, niż świadome zaplanowanie? To pytania, na które kozy musi odpowiedzieć sobie sam. Ale jeśli ten przypadek czegoś nas uczy, to tego, aby zawsze, za każdym razem weryfikować, sprawdzać. Nie ufać ślepo, nawet jeśli wydaje się, że z nami druga strona. Bo czasami, jak pokazała sprawa Olivii Chen, prawda kryje się otóż pod powierzchnią. Zekaczek, by pokazać swoje prawdziwe oblicze. Sprawa zamknięta, na razie, a to było kolejna skrupulatna analiza na The Evidence Log. Nie zapomnijcie subskrybować, aby nie przegapić kolejnych śledztwa. Do sajkacenia na taktnym pliku dowodowym.